Welcome, everyone. We are live on this beautiful, and it is Tuesday, memory serves me correctly. It's Tuesday. It's a little cool outside. No sun yet over the horizon, at least for me. It's a beautiful day. It really is. Today, we're talking about faithfulness equals change. What do I mean? Well, Neville says you be faithful to the imaginal act, right? Be faithful to the imaginal act. So, whatever that thing is that you say you want to experience in reality, if you start experiencing it in your imagination first, over and over and over again, that's the only thing to do. And from there, you put yourself in a mental state, a mood. And when you are fully in that mood, ensconced in that mood, then you begin to act. Naturally, you will act. Just like when you put a seed in the ground, the natural thing for the seed to do is to grow. You give the thing the right conditions, and it happens. So that's why he says you don't have to lift a finger. So if you say, I have been trying to change my life, I don't know what to do anymore. I got all of this trauma. Listen, there is one job. You have one job. Just one job. It is to remain faithful to the imaginal act. Let me show you that you are already faithful to an imaginal act. Sometimes we sit and we contemplate things. We sit there and we say to ourselves, man, I really want to do this thing, but I don't even know anybody. I got all this education and all these degrees and diplomas and certificates, and I still can't get ahead. Man, I don't know what to do. Every day you keep telling yourself that. What do you think you're doing? You are remaining faithful to the imaginal act of what you lack. Day in and day out, you're talking to yourself in such a fashion. So you see, you are already faithful to the imaginal act. My favorite example, because we have all done this. We have all done it. We have all rehearsed how we're going to cuss somebody out. We've all rehearsed how we're going to tell somebody off. Even the most sweet of us in the bunch. We have all rehearsed, man, if I see him, if I see her, I'm going to tell them this. And if they say this, because I know them, you can't even get a word in edgewise. Well, I'm going to say this to silence them right out the gate. We do that. What do you think you're doing? Remaining faithful to your imaginal act. So what if your imaginal act, right, was something you deliberately chose to rehearse? What if it was that? Because we're already doing it. Now, here's where the change comes in. When you remain faithful to the imaginal act and you see it come to pass and you experience it. See, somebody asked, they say they get confused. They say, why are you doing it twice? You experience it in imagination, but then you have to experience it in reality. Because life is the echo. When you go up to the Grand Canyon or wherever you go and you say, hello, what do you hear back? Hello. Did you do it twice? Or did you just holler once? Depending on how many times you holler, that's how many times the echo will come back to you. You're not doing it twice. It is simply the echo. The world we live in is the echo to our thoughts. Or better yet, let me say it this way. The world we live in is the echo to our awareness. What we are aware of being. Oh my God. Yeah, you're aware of that. Then you're going to get the echo. As within, so without. You reap what you have sown. So when you remain faithful to the imaginal act and it happens, it echoes in your world, what are you going to do? You're going to clutch your pearls and go, wait, you know what? That was a coincidence. Totally a coincidence. I'm going to do it again because that's not possible. And you do it again. And you get the echo. And you're like, come on, man, this is freaking me out. How is that possible? And then you do it again. And you get the other echo. You're like, my mind is blown. What the heck is going on? You mean this really works? That's what you're going to do. So tell me now, if you didn't change. Tell me if you didn't get some measure of faith that you didn't have before. In where? In what you did. Tell me if your confidence didn't just go through the roof. Because you didn't do it once, twice, 3 times an echo. You did it 3 times. And you're like, dude, man, if I do this 4 times and it happens, I might have to commit myself somewhere. But at the end of the 4 times and you get the 4 echoes and you look in the mirror, you are a changed person. And you will begin to realize, because your old thoughts, your old memories, they're still there. But you will notice something. You will notice that it was you who had a conversation in your mind's eye, in your imagination, and then you got an echo. So the next time you sit down to cuss somebody out, you're going to stop yourself. Do you know why you're going to stop yourself? Because 4 different times you got the exact echo. And you know if you do it a 5th time, but with this, you're not going to do it. So then what will happen? You will begin to release your quote unquote trauma naturally. Like Saul, when he was on the road to Damascus, right? He was doing what he's always done, persecute Christians. That was his role in life. That was his imaginal act. You're Saul, so don't get it twisted. And you're walking down the road to Damascus, which is how you live your life every day. And then one day you say to yourself, oh, I gotta just get it done. Whatever it is that inner conversation is. And you see it happen. You get the echo. The scales begin to fall off your eyes. You now begin to see what you are actually doing. When the scales fall off your eyes, you say, holy macaroni, I have been doing this to myself this whole time? I was blind to what I was doing? And you become a different person. You see how he went from Saul to Paul? Listen, it takes a radical change. It's a radical change because it changes you radically, because you had to radically have a mental change in your attitude. The only thing that you focused on was that imaginal act. When you got up in the morning before you put your feet on the floor, you did your imaginal act. You went to the potty, you did your imaginal act. You brush your teeth, you did your imaginal act. You sip your tea, you're doing your imaginal act. All through the day at these mundane times. Because that's when things, like roaches, creep. right? They come in there. You're like, oh, where'd that come from? That's what happens. And you're not concerned with, is it here yet? You know what you're concerned with? If I stay faithful, I got to see it. And I want to see it. So I'm going to stay faithful. If I stay faithful, I've got to see it. So I'm going to stay faithful. If I stay faithful, I'm going to see it. So I stay faithful over and over and over again. And that's what excites you, to see what you are capable of doing. You're not concerned with, is it there? You are concerned with, can I do it? Do you see the difference? There's a shift there. You take yourself from, ooh, I don't know, to, let me see what I'm capable of. And you don't stop until you prove to yourself what you are capable of. And you know as well as I know. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door is opened. That's what you know for sure. As the day is long, you know it to be true. You know it to be fact. Because you say, oh my God, it came at such the perfect time. Yeah, because you stay focused. But let's touch this one. Let's ease into this part. Yeah, Angela, that sounds easy. But if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. You can't just say, if I remain faithful. So you're telling me if I don't experience it, that I'm unfaithful to my imaginal act and I'm just like a loser? I'm telling you, you are already faithful to imaginal acts in your life. Habitually. Habitually. Habitually where? Where habitually? Look in your life. You say, oh my God, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep doing the same thing all the time? That's what you say to yourself. You know, when you say that, you know what you've just discovered? Your habitual act. You have just uncovered what you do the same way every time. That's what you've discovered. See how faithful you are? You're doing the same thing the same way every time. You are faithful, my friends. Trust me on this one. Look at your life and you'll see where you're faithful. Yes, yes, you are. I don't have to convince you. Look, every time you say, man, why does this always happen to me? You have been faithful to that imaginal act. You don't even have to go digging for it. It will moon you. You know what mooning is, right? Drop your drawers and you show your butt cheeks. That's mooning. Every young man does it. Yeah, you know when they're younger? Yeah, they moon you. Yeah, your habitual state is mooning you. It's all in your face. And you keep saying, oh my God, I can't get out of this cycle, because you are faithful to it. And you're not faithful to it because you don't know any better. That's not why you're faithful to it. You are faithful to it because you practiced. That's all. Don't beat yourself up for doing the same thing the same way every time. You don't have a choice. Once you start doing something the same way every time, it becomes the norm. That's what I want you to see about yourself. That is the nature of man. So if you know it is the nature of man, hack the nature of man. Hey, hack the nature of man by selecting the imaginal act that you want to do the same way every time. And as long as you remain faithful to that imaginal act, you will experience it. Let me say it this way. You must experience it. Do not let your concern be, how long is it gonna take? That's the question people always ask. How long is this gonna take? But it depends on you. Oh, and they don't like to hear that. They look at me and roll their eyes and go, bitch, please. Seriously. For real. That's what they say to me. Oh, please. What do you mean it depends on me? It depends on you remaining faithful. Well, this is a beautiful question. Is saying, well, why do people treat me as a doormat? Uh, why do people treat you as a doormat? In your mind's eye, you are the doormat. How? You're going along to get along, for one. Oh, but if I say this, well, they might not believe me. They may judge me. You know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'll just hang back here and just, pretend I didn't hear. Cuz I'm afraid. Like what if they think I'm not smart? What if they think I'm stupid? All those types of questions lead you to bow the head and not speak. And so when you bow the head and you don't speak, people just bulldoze right over you. And all the time inside, you're seething and you're angry. And you notice you're not angry that they're treating you that way. You're angry at the fact that you feel you cannot open your mouth. You think if you open your mouth, oh Lord, I'm going to say the wrong thing. And if I say the wrong thing, if I say it the way I want to say it, somebody's going to leave me. And so you bide your time, and then you don't eat the way you should, because then you don't eat the way you should. You end up eating some other way. Next thing you know, your stomach is bubbling. Yes. Next thing you know, oh, my stomach hurts. Oh, ow. Oh, next thing you know, you feel the urge to go number 2, and you're like, oh, but it won't come out. Oh, because you've got your mouth clamped shut. You think it's just the mouth that's shut? No, you shut every other orifice in your body. As within, so without. The body responds. Scientists tell you that the small intestine, with its villi, little tiny finger-like projections that grab all the minuscule molecules of food to absorb the nutrients. Give me nerve endings that has? And they tell you, well, that's your second brain. Why do you think the stomach is the thing that usually gets people? So to change that, what is the imaginal act? Instead of this imaginal act of, if I say this, I'm going to lose friends, man. If I say that, my mother will probably never speak to me again. If I say that, my father, he's barely here to begin with, and he'll be gone forever now. If I do this, what if I get fired? You see that imaginal act? See what you're playing through? What would you prefer? What would you prefer? You would prefer the confidence to do what? Speak your mind from a place of where? Where do you want to speak your mind from? You want to cuss everybody out and what the hell with them? Nah. You want to say your piece, and you want to be understood. You want to be heard. You want to be respected. It may shock them when you open your mouth and say it for the first time, but that's all right. But you want to see that, hey, they don't actually leave me, but they do respect me now. So you want to see on their faces the respect of you opening your mouth to speak. That's what you want to see on their faces. That's what you want to hear in their voices. The incredulity of, wait, did she just say that? Wait, this is a new person. You know how people are. Because you know the experience of being a doormat. So if you were not the doormat, but you were bold and confident and said what you wanted to say, how would people treat you? When you're being the doormat, are you talking to yourself in your mind's eye? Can you see how somebody would treat you? Do you feel a particular way when you hear what's going on in your mind's eye? Well, then, see or hear or sense what would happen if People just respected you when you spoke. That's what you rehearse. And it's just something very simple, because you're simply doing it already. You're simply saying, oh my God, if I talk, they'll leave. I'm afraid if I talk, they'll leave. I'm afraid if they talk, I'm afraid if I talk, they'll leave. That's what you're saying over and over and over again. That's the imaginal act. But you're not saying idle words. You actually believe, if I talk, they will leave. And so you say it with conviction. And you're telling yourself, oh my God. So you're fully committed to that imaginal act. But now the new act would be, wow, so this is what respect feels like. What took me so long? This is what respect feels like? What took me so long? Wow, this is what respect feels like? What took me so long? Over and over. But the more you say it, the more convicted you become. And then you get aroused to say, I want to see the look on their face. I want to see that respect on their face. I want to experience that respect. And that's what keeps you going. And every time you get a little quiver in your belly that says, if I speak my mind, they'll leave, you go, no, I'm not. That's not going to happen. But here's what I want to happen. Look at the respect on their faces. You pop your collar, you say, put a little respect on my name. Hey, that is how, whatever your personality is, that is how you now create that mental experience that you physically want to have. So when you practice and remain faithful to that one thing, and you notice how short it is. Man, listen, you could just have it be, wow. That's all you could have it be, because the wow implies you're seeing the respect. You're hearing the respect. That's what the wow implies. You don't have to go past the wow, because sometimes when we go past the wow, we get caught up in a whole other mental conversation and we're gone somewhere. So keep it short, sweet, succinct, and to the point. Wow. And you're absolutely, you feel it in your chest. In the beginning, you might not feel it in your chest. But the more you rehearse it, well, the better you get. Do you not? The more you rehearse your lines as an actor, the more confident you get that you can put the script down. This is why they have gag reels at the end of shows that you watch. When you see the gag reel, that's them rehearsing. And they didn't quite get it, so they had to do it again. And they do it again so that you don't laugh. Like, you know what I mean? So they get more confident and more comfortable as they rehearse the role. They cannot rip the script up and say, to hell with it. They can't do that. They have committed themselves to the role. They signed on the dotted line. They already got money. Well, same thing for you. You have already committed to the role. The more confident you, the more bold you, the respected you, you have committed to that role. So you've got to follow through. So the more you rehearse, the longer you rehearse, you become more confident, more sure of yourself. Why sure of yourself? Because you've memorized the lines. So once you've memorized the line, that's why you keep it short, sweet, and succinct. Now you can dedicate yourself to getting the feeling. But it happens simultaneously. They happen together. Who did I see yesterday when they spoke about what they had gone through in their lives? Oh, Tiana Taylor. She was playing a role. And she said she drew her emotions and her feelings from what she had gone through previously in her life. You see what we do? We remember things and then we feel what we remember. So she had to play whatever broken part she had to play in this show So she found all the times in her life that she was broken, and she drew the energy from it. How did she draw the energy from it? She had to relive it. She had to do it again. So every cruel word that she heard in the past, that's how you see the past does not remain in the past, does it? So she had to drag it out and dust it off. That's what she did. So that she could do what? Act out the scene. She had to give that scene all the nuance of reality. She had to give that scene the realness. But it's just a show. Of course, it's just a show. But if she's not authentic in what she feels, you will know. Because you're like, meh, I didn't really believe her. You know how critics are. Meh, I didn't really believe her. I didn't really buy that this was happening. You say she was inauthentic. But let me tell you something. She went back into her memories and she relived what she had gone through previously. And when she cried on screen, you cried. And if you didn't cry, you sure felt like you wanted to, because she convinced you that what she was doing on that screen was real. You know who else did it? Heath Ledger with the Joker. He convinced you. But how did he convince you? Because he convinced himself. As within, so without. So when he embodied the Joker, Jim Carrey did it. When he embodied the role he played for the Man on the Moon, right? Because I think it was Jamie Foxx telling the story how Dave Chappelle, and he was introduced to his favorite guy, which is Jim Carrey. But he wasn't Jim Carrey. He was, but he was not. He had so embodied his role, he didn't break character. So Dave had to speak to him as though he were the character. So you see, when an actor stays in character even after the director says, cut, that's what you and I are doing when we embody a mental state, when we commit to the emotional or mental or imaginal act. That's what we do. And you see how long you can stay in that role. And the reason I say it that way is because you've already embodied a particular role. Listen, I can call, now this is for fan base, I can call a number of names for people on this app. And you'll know who I'm talking about. I wouldn't actually have to call a name. All I could say is, man, you're not going to call a name either. Not out loud, at least. We keep that to ourselves. But if I say, man, he will debate you under the table, you know who I'm talking about if you've ever experienced him. Yeah, third, I digress. If you say, I've never encountered anybody who hates men as much as she does, you know who I'm talking about. Why? Because they embody the role. So when you embody the role, that's how now you are known in the world, based upon the role you assume. So if you assume the role of doormat, it'll follow you everywhere. You can't outrun what you assume yourself to be. So the way to fix it is to, in your imagination, what would you prefer to be? You are the actor. All the world is a stage, and we are all merely actors upon it. William Shakespeare. To be or not to be? That is the question. That's the most pivotal question there is. To be or not to be? What do you want to be? Listen, I'm not hollering at you. I'm just excited. I'm hot and sweaty already. It is not even the crack of dawn yet. Because y'all got me fired up in here. But you hear what I'm saying? What do you want to be? Imagine it. Imagine it. And then to rehearse, simply say to yourself, action. Rehearse the line. Wow, that's what respect is like. What took me so long? Simple as that. You got to convince the director that you're for real. So then the director, at first, he'll say, God, what was that? Really? Who are you lying to? I don't believe a word you just said. Let's do it again. Places. Action. Wow. That's what respect feels like? God. Seriously. I'm paying you all this money. I don't believe you. Do you need a break? Do you need a break so you can come back and try again? This is the director. Directors aren't always nice. There's a reason why they are not always nice, because they want the most authentic you, because that is what will make the movie get the money, the authenticity. So then he goes, okay, take a deep breath. I want you to go back in your mind's eye somewhere, Nobody's ever made you feel like a loser. Nobody's ever made you feel bad in your life. You never felt like such a failure. And your bottom lip starts to quiver. He goes, whoa, places, action. And you come out guns blazing and you say, wow, that's what respect feels like. And you carry on the scene and everybody plays their roles. And all of a sudden you hear, cut, print that. And you're rocking in the corner because you embodied it. This is what we do. Lil Bit is in the basement this morning, so I can hear him. Y'all can't at that much. But do you grasp what I am saying to you today? That you remain faithful. And if you remain faithful to that simple imaginary act, and Neville Goddard says, listen, what if you can't hear it? And what if you can't see it? What if you say, oh my God, I can't visualize? What if you say that? He says, well, you might not be able to visualize, right? But you can feel. You can feel. Sometimes all I have to say to you is, yo, mama, and you'll feel. Or I might feel your hand at the back of my head. Either way, somebody's going to feel if I say, yo, mama. So if I say, yo, mama, or as we say in Barbados, Yamada. I digress, Mrs. Sonia. But if I say that to you, all of a sudden, this whole gamut of feelings just comes pouring out, yes? So we all have the ability to feel. So if you can feel, which we all can. If I say, oh my God, your boss, how many of you are going to feel whatever you feel? If I say, yo man, or your woman, how are you going to feel? Listen, I know how I feel when I say Lil Bit or Dolphin Duck. I know how I feel. You know how you feel, right? So if you can muster the feeling, then run with that and see how many times you can feel it throughout the day. Embody the feeling. Remain faithful to the feeling, because the feeling conjures what? The feeling conjures the experience in imagination that you want to experience in reality. And all you're doing is rehearsing it by way of feeling. So you see, remember, you can use cause and effect in the reverse. Every cause has its effect. Every effect is cause. So you can use the effect, which is the feeling, to bring about the cause. Or you can use the cause, if you know it, to bring about the experience, the effect. So you see, we're never stuck. We've got 5 senses. Well, we have many senses. How about I say that? We have many senses. Use them. Whichever one is naturally the one you go to first, use it. So remain faithful to the imaginal act. Be faithful to rehearse it and you will change your life. Yeah, but this trauma, right? Let me say this. We have all been through, we are all going through, we will all go through the fire to the limit, right? We will all do it. We will. We shall. We do. But the trauma persists based upon the memory of it. Oh, the trauma persists based upon the memory. It's in the body because we keep replaying it and replaying it and replaying it, especially depending on the severity of it. But here is something for you to help you. Sorry, Sonia, I just saw your comment. Listen, to help you through it, if you remain faithful to the new to be, right? Or not to be, get it? If you remain faithful to what you want to be and you rehearse it until you become it, so the director goes, break that, right? The trauma, the sting of the trauma begins to fade naturally on its own. Oh, Angela, how do you know? How do I know? Listen, when you are busy living your best life, do you have time to rock in the corner and remember all the atrocities? Do you have time? No, you don't. Because what? You busy living your best life. So when you are faithful and you bring about the echo in your world, when you bring about what you've experienced in imagination into your reality, what will the trauma do to you? It begins to diminish naturally. And because the reason why it haunts us, we have a saying. The saying is, idle hands, the devil's workshop. We always want to give the devil so much credit. Listen, what that means is when you just sit there and you do nothing, because the law of vibration tells us you can't not do nothing. Ooh, triple negative, girl. You can't not do nothing. You must be doing something. You must move because the law of vibration says everything is moving. Nothing stands still. So even if you're sitting there in the corner, what are you doing? Thinking. Thinking about what? Well, if you're sitting in the corner in the dark, that does not make you want to throw confetti. It might make you want to vomit, but not throw confetti. Sorry if you're eating. So you see, when you hear idle hands at the devil's workshop, it means you're doing the same thing the same way every time to keep those memories invoked. Let me read this. I appreciate you sharing it. Let me read it. He says, thank you. I'm going through a struggle right now because I've been giving everything I've ever wanted, but I struggle to feel worthy of it because of the person I was when I was dead asleep. See that? Unworthiness. Do you know what makes you worthy? Nothing makes us worthy. You cannot be made worthy. Because the moment we want to say, I'm going to expand on it. The moment we say, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy. The moment we say that, you're now saying to yourself, you must qualify. There's nothing that you have to qualify for. And this is the part that really gets us, the part that sticks in our craw. Because the rest of the world says, if you don't have this degree, if you don't have that degree, if you don't have this PhD, you're nobody. If you didn't come from this name, if you didn't come from that name, you ain't nobody. That's what the world says. But the very fact that you exist, listen, whether your mother was on the way to the abortion clinic is irrelevant. That shit is irrelevant. You are here. And do you know why you're here? This now, brace yourself. Hold on to whatever you can hold on to. Because I know what the church has told us our whole lives. You are here because God said, before the world was, I am. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. How could God possibly have known you before you were formed in your mother's womb? Because God is you. Oh, please, Angela, you're reaching now. How can God be me? I don't even believe in God. You don't have to believe in God, because when we hear the word God, it is tainted. It has been bastardized. Don't let me wake you up this morning. I'll be a little bit too. I'll holler. The word God has been bastardized because now when we think of God, we think of, if I don't do good, I'm going to go to hell. That's what we think. And any Christian will come in and argue and say the same thing. Oh, that's blasphemous. You're going to go to hell. Please. God is not outside of me. And this is why scripture tells you neither height nor depth can separate you from God. Why can't it separate you from God? Because you are God. You cannot be separated from yourself. So your worthiness does not hinge upon your background, your connections, your money in the bank. That's not what your worthiness is dependent upon. Your worthiness exists because you can inhale and exhale. You can walk and you can talk. You might walk with a limp. You might got to roll yourself everywhere, but the very fact that you exist, because once you exist, you cannot not exist. Ooh, don't come for me, grammar police. So that is what deems your worthiness. You get up in the morning, you're worthy. You inhale, you're worthy. You sit on the potty, you're worthy. You might not smell worthy, but you are. But you are worthy in every sense of the word. And worthy is only a word. So here's how you get your imaginal act now to feel worthy. Has there ever been a time in your life where you have accomplished something? It doesn't matter what it is. You could have finished the puzzle. Please, come on. It's anything that you have accomplished. Do you remember what that felt like, to feel like, oh my God, I did that? It's the first time you tied your shoes by yourself. It could be anything. It does not matter what it is that invokes the feeling of accomplishment. Because when you're accomplished, oh, now move from the accomplishment. Why did you accomplish it? You practiced. Worthiness has nothing to do with anything. Did you practice? Yes, you did. That's why you accomplished your task. So see this worthiness, put it into perspective. Put worthiness into perspective. So now the way you walk, can you see yourself walking in a new way? Right? Can you hear yourself speaking in a different way? Someone who's worthy, when they talk, what do they sound like? Well, what do you sound like now when you feel unworthy? We'll talk again and begin to muster up the courage to not sound like that anymore. The person who feels valuable and worthy does not acquiesce, does not compare themselves. Why not? for a few reasons. They don't compare themselves because we're all one. What they can do, you can do. Yeah, but everybody has a natural gift. Yes, we sure do have natural gifts. So if you take your time to discover yours, you won't have any time to compare yourself to George and talk about what George is better than me. My grandmother said to me, I miss her. Somebody's always going to be better than you. But who's going to be you? And that's why she was the best alto singer on that island, let me tell you. Because nobody could do it like her. Nobody. Oh, you sure you had people who sang better. For reference, if you know what Mahalia Jackson sounds like, the very first time I heard the voice of Mahalia Jackson, I was in an HMV, you know, a music store that used to sell CDs. Not anymore. But I heard this voice over the thingy, and they were playing "Oh Holy Night," and I was like, "Granny, what the hell?" And I went up to the counter and I said, well, "Who is that?" He said, "That's Mahalia Jackson." They said, "I bought everything plus her biography." I said, "This is too uncanny because that's what my grandmother sounds like." So when my grandmother can tell me that there's always somebody who's going to be better than you, but there's only one you, then do you, boo-boo. That's my piece. Do you. So worthiness has everything to do with you and the acceptance of self. What self? You mean that the one that scratches their knee when they fall down? No. But the one that allows you to get up from the fall. Shoot, the same one that allowed you to fall in the first place. Because if the self was not inside your body, you could not stand or fall. That's it. There's no other worthiness in the world. God gave you himself. God was not buffing his nails and saying, oh, look, I have this little leftover piece. I don't know what to do with it. But, I'll just make you. Yeah, may as well not let it go to waste. I'll just make you. No, there was no afterthought. You were the forethought. Before the world was, I am. Before your mother was pregnant with you, I knew you. Because I am you. And neither height nor depth, heaven nor hell can separate you from me. Because I am you. So you see, get this small little act in your mind. How would you behave if you felt worthy? How would you behave? How would you walk into a room? You have to find what naturally you would do. If that means you sit there and you are overwhelmed by the fact of, I actually get it. I really understand. I comprehend now truly that I am is worthy. Wow, I am is worthiness itself. Whatever that thing is you would do naturally, that implies I am worthy. Begin to feel that. How long can you embody it throughout the day? How long can you stay in character then? How long can you stay in character? Then that will determine, your faithfulness determines the rate of your change. Write that one down, Delight. Your faithfulness determines the rate or the speed of your change. This is why Neville says you can change in the twinkling of an eye. Choose the imaginal act that you are going to rehearse. Remain faithful to it. It is not imaginary. It is not imaginary. A seamstress, oh my God, I saw this woman crochet a little. She makes crochet frogs, and then she does stop animation with the frogs. God save the queen. Ugh. I sat there and I watched her make this little sundress, this little tiny yellow sundress for her frog. She didn't cut out a pattern. Where was the pattern? Inside her imagination, in her mind's eye. Listen, the very fact that she sits down, this is what she does for a living. Wait, is that a black job? I digress. Sorry. I couldn't help myself. That was crass as hell, but I digress. She sits there and she crochets these little frogs. But she doesn't just crochet these little frogs. She does them in stop animation. Stop animation is she animates them so they move, and she gives them a personality and a character, right? She has them sipping tea or having breakfast. Listen, I'm in awe of this. For real. Who does that? What would compel you to get up one morning and say, I love frogs. I have this art degree or this humanities, or this psychology degree, but I don't really want to do that. I just want to crochet frogs and give them personalities and names and dress them and go for tea with them. Who does that? You see, the rest of the world would want to laugh and go, oh my God, what a loser. Yeah, but that heifer is rich. She is. She is. Now, in the grand scheme of things, the way the world works, where does that fit in? It makes us stop and go, oh. That's the role it plays. Listen, I still marvel. That's what she does. I'm floored. And here's the rest of us wanting to do what? Do the most, and we compare ourselves to everybody else. And here she is just crocheting frogs with little sundresses and their little shoes. What the? For real, for real. That's what you're gonna do? But if you see how excited she gets, how at peace she is when she sits and she crochets, but where's she crocheting from? Yep, her imagination. So is the imagination real? Hells yeah. Of course it's real. It's the most real thing you will experience. But I'm sure, because we all have one of those in our closet. Oh, really? You want to make frogs? Ain't nobody gonna buy your frogs. Nobody cares. But everybody is saying, here, take my money. And taking her frogs. Take my money and give me that frog, girl. That's what's happening. Because we've learned how to monetize everything. But she's loving what she does. And she drew it right out of herself. So today, whatever may seem so outrageous in the beginning, if you would experience all she experienced, how do I know? Because she could not have, quote unquote, predicted that the world would go nuts for her little tiny frogs and their stop animation and sipping tea. She could not have anticipated that. But all she wanted was, I just want to do this. Because she was happy doing it. And the rest of the world were like, can you do more? That's it. So don't get up and try and figure out how to monetize what you've got. Get up and do what you love. And as scripture says, a man's gifts make room for him and brings him before great men. Do what you do Just do what you do and do it well. Well, you don't have a choice but to do it well, because the more you do it, the better you get. And the better you get, well, then the better you get. But hey, right? So do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition. Oh, prayer and petition. Now, hold up. We would think that petition means to beg, but what if petition, repetition? What? Say it again. Repetition. What? By prayer and repetition, present your request to God. Oh, break it down, Angela. By prayer. What is prayer? When you pray, pray in my name. Because this is what Neville says, right? Pray in my name. What is my name? I am. So I am worthy that you've just prayed. I am worthy. Now, repetition. By prayer and repetition, present the request to God. So who is God? Look in the mirror. So when you present your request, and it's not a request as in beg, is an ask. I am worthy. Repetition. I am worthy. Repetition is faithfulness. Whoa. Repetition is faithfulness. What? How could it not be? You're going to do the same thing the same way every time. Shoot, you faithful to that. And then it becomes a habit, and thus you must remain faithful. See, we're designed for faithfulness. So practice every single day by prayer and repetition. I am worthy. Oh, I am worthy? Wait, I'm worthy. I'm worthy? And the more you do it, repetition, you will begin to feel this thing, just as I told you before, it's not gas, but you will feel this thing bubbling up inside of you. Right? And next time you say, oh, I am worthy. And when you say it like you know it, hey, when it takes on the tones of reality, as Neville Goddard says, you'll begin to see the evidence. As within, so without. You will see the evidence in your world of your worthiness. You'll see it. So remain faithful to your imaginal act. Step 1, know what you want. Step 2, what would you experience in reality? Well, experience that in your imagination. You know your personality. And remain faithful to it. Don't worry about the clock. Clock is only a measurement that we've devised, just like a yardstick or measuring tape. And you all know how everybody loves to measure, right? We love to measure. You don't have to worry about measuring. Your job is just to rehearse. Nothing else. You have other things to do, but remember to rehearse. You got to sweep the floor, wash the floor, do the laundry, iron the clothes. Well, not in this heat, but that means have a little mercy on your laundromat if your stuff is delayed, because that is hot. Okay, I digress. Tip a little bit because it's hot. There's so much that we have to do. But remember to rehearse. Remember to rehearse your imaginal act. How long can you stay in character? Do everything in the character. You got to fold the laundry in the character of worthiness. Fold your laundry in the character of boldness. Fold your laundry in the character of I'm rich, bitch. Right? Now, perhaps you would have a a helper in the house. A maid. You know. Perhaps. Maybe you would. I don't know what you would do if you were rich. You do. Right? Maybe you'd be like John Cleese and you'd say, Manuel. Maybe that's what you would do if you were rich. But you have to do what you would naturally do. And that's how you create the scene. And that's the character you walk in all day long. You're doing your data entry. You're washing the windows. You're walking the dog. Do that from that place. That is what Neville means when he says living in the end. Right? Live in the end. It is done. All you are doing is rehearsing. That's it. You're rehearsing. You're training up your child in the way it should go. That's what you're doing. You are rehearsing. So that when the thing comes for you to interact with it, you already know because you've already done it. But the funny thing about the body is, the body says, oh, I've already done this. I've already experienced this. So I'm going to just do it. You've already been doing it. So, holy macaroni, it's been an hour. Sorry. Let us take a moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into the space. Hello, Hilarion, beloved love troll, Lady Sai. Welcome to the space on Twitter today. And you know it is always a pleasure and a privilege to see all of you. It sure is. Who's here on YouTube and Facebook? Hey, Brandon. Asanya, darling. Reese. I want to say Ricola. Sorry, I couldn't help myself, but it's Reese. Hello. Who's here on Fanbase today? Hello, Miss Deborah. Hey. Happy is in the house. Oh, and Amani is here too. Miss Fawn. Hello, Renee. Or Rena. Oh, God. Listen, if you don't tell me how to say your name, I'm going to probably muck it up every day. Rena Rose. Hey. Hello, Moon and Dolphin Duck. Yes. Miss McQueen. Shea Butter. Yeah. Afternoon Delight. Hey, Joaquin. Tiffany and Javion. Listen, I don't even know if Javion is there, but you can tell him I said hello. And Flo smiles with her. You see that pie? You see that piece of pie? Listen, if you're on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, you don't know what I'm talking about. But we had some key lime pie yesterday. Ooh. I cut my key lime pie in half. I got me another piece for today. Oh, hallelujah. That's her picture. Key lime pie. And Oracle Treehouse. Hello, dearest. I didn't forget you. Listen. Thank you all for being here and spending your time with me. And a little bit, yes, he says hello too, but it was hot and he was panting already. So the coolest place for him is the basement. So I kissed him and I said, I'll be back for you. Okay. He's got his food and his water and he just lay there and he was fine. I said, I'll be back for you soon. Okay. But I heard him singing already. So I know he's all right. But he says hello too. Don't worry. Don't come for me because he's not here. I know you, Miss Fawn, because that's your little buddy. Right? Yes. Yes, Moon.
I was getting ready to say, why did you put my baby in the dungeon?
I put him in the dungeon so he could cool down. It's already 80 degrees in the house. So I don't know. He's panting, so I got to put him somewhere cool. I gave him some cool water. But listen, as you go through your day today, assume your role. Beloved love troll. I know, right? Listen, assume your role. You better know your role. How many times have we said that? Or right? You better know your role. Yeah, but do you know the role that you want to play? And you will see something that naturally happens for you. And you rehearse it, embody it. Why is night fever? Why is that in my head? Because you know what I saw? I saw the bell bottoms and the platforms, and that's the role I want today. Just cool as a cucumber. I don't have platforms or bell bottoms, but I got some booty shorts. I might wear them in the yard and hope for no mosquitoes. Listen, embody the role that you want to do today. Embody it. Embody it. For real, for real. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm on one today, I'm sure. Take your time. You have an eternity, so take your time. Who do you say you are? Well, then walk and talk and eat and breathe like it. You ever see a kid play dress up? And they're in that costume all day long and they bark like a dog because that's what they are. And they're barking like a dog all day long. And you're looking at them and you're like, if you bark one more time, I ask you if you're going to eat these peas. And you, no, if you bark one more time, I'm going to put you in the yard like you would. Oh, come on now. You see how faithful they are? And they commit to the role. Well, then you commit to the role. And that is your only task. When you commit to that role, you don't have a choice but to change your life. You're not forcing your life to change. Your life just changes. Why? Because of the role that you have assumed. Choose the role, and you don't have a choice but to act accordingly. But you see, we want to break the world. What did Rumi say? Oh, I thought I was clever. I was going to change the world. But then I became wise and I changed myself. Oh, why? Because there is only the self to change. The world is the reflection of the self. So if you got a problem, what's your solution? Walk in your solution. Assume your solution. This is why the scripture says, let the weak say, I am strong. You are praying in the name of God. I am strong. So walk like you are. You see, now I came across this ad, and there's a lot of them out there. Every time I go across my timeline on Instagram, all I get are ads. And it's always somebody trying to tell me, you could be a better life coach. You could go from 0 clients to 50 clients in 5 days. Let me show you how. And I'm like, is that really what I'm about? Is that why I keep seeing this? Because I get mad every time I see them. And then the one I saw yesterday really tripped me out. He said, there are these 9 words that you can say. The elite say these 9 words. And if you say these 9 words, you can go from broke to rich in 24 hours. He kept saying it over and over again. I
can't stand those. That's that new age marketing to get people to, I can't stand those.
Right? That's exactly it. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, should I just let it keep playing? And then he starts talking about brain waves. And he says, if the law of attraction worked, everybody would be rich. And I said, bitch, you don't know. I said, because I was watching this and he's talking about if the law of attraction worked, everybody would be rich. And I sat there and I shook my head. I really did. Because you see, that's what people want. And then when they go and they click on it, because I read the comments, right? Somebody in the comments said, yeah, watch that video and then you'll have to watch another video and then he'll take your money. And so I said, look, the only thing that determines how we change is our level of faithfulness to the outcome. When you scientifically now, because science, right? When you remain faithful to that imaginal act, you are doing something to your body. You are literally doing something to your body. For real, literally you're doing it. You can't see it just that instant, not in all cases, but that's what you're doing. You are carving out a new neurological pathway. Why? Because you're learning something new. What are you learning that's new? Well, you're practicing that thing. That thing is new for you. So you're practicing it over and over and over and over again. And the more you practice it, this neurological pathway is set down. That's actually what's happening. But that doesn't just happen. You don't have to force yourself to get into theta brainwaves. You don't have to force yourself to get into any brainwave. The brainwave matches the mental mood. The brainwave is going to match the mental mood. So if you choose the mood, the brainwave will match. But we got binaural beats we could use to force ourselves into the situation. But if you get into the mood, right? If you get into the mood, your brainwave will change. This is why when you begin to meditate, you change the brainwave. I have it written on the fridge from, of course I forget the order of it, but I do have it written down. Alpha, beta, theta, gamma. No, delta, sorry. Alpha, beta, theta, gamma. That's from up to down. And then from down to up, you go delta, theta, beta, alpha. So it just depends on the mood that you are in. And so if you practice the mood, you will put yourself in a particular brainwave. And when you put yourself in a particular brainwave, you have to act accordingly. They tell you children are in theta. They're just taking in information. So eager to learn, curious. Now you're in a different brainwave. See, but you get into theta when you drive the same route every day, the same route every day for our American friends. And when you shower, you go into theta. Anything that you do on autopilot is theta. So anytime you go into memories, hey, theta. Right? So if you're going into theta, well, theta is the most suggestive state. That's the time for you to suggest. What are you going to suggest? The imaginal act. So every time you rehearse your imaginal act, you go into theta and you help yourself. And then the more you do it, it becomes a habit for you to be in theta or to be in whatever brainwave. But it depends on the mood because the body will respond as within, so without. Yes? So I know that some things sound really cool and fancy, but when scientists explain it to you, they are just explaining mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender. That's all they're explaining to you. So when you hear put yourself into a different brainwave, well, you have to get a different mood. So today, practice. When you rehearse your small act, and we will get the bowl right after this. When you rehearse your small act over and 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 over, and you embody it and you live it, and you hoorah! I digress. I'm like a squirrel. But when you do that, you change. Not because you force change. One does not force change. I hear you, handsome. I hear you. One does not force change. One allows change. So see what you want to be. Rehearse it faithfully. And it is done. But we keep looking for the hack. Listen, you are the hack. Hello. You're the hack. You know the law. You're the hack. Listen, let me just get this bowl, y'all, because I don't want to lose my shit today. I don't want to lose my cool today. Hey, King Thoy. Right? I can hear you. I'm getting the bowl. Ooh, there is only I am in this world. When you forget the tense, you delay the journey. Oh, say it again, Brandon. There is only I am in this world. When you forget the tense, you delay the journey. What tense? Past, present, right? So present tense, I am. Well, that's present tense, isn't it? I am. Oh, I was. What that? That's the past. Oh, I will be. Oh, that's the future. Where do you want to be? Right here, right now. Right here, right now. Sorry. Mm. You want to be right here, right now. And the only way to be right here, right now is to what now? I am. This is why scripture tells. Didn't I say I was going to play the bowl? I'm getting it. Wait. But this is why scripture says, I'm the Lord your God, the same yesterday, today, and forever. Why? Because he's only now, yesterday, today, and forever. All he says is, I am. He said, I am yesterday. He said, I am today. He says, I am tomorrow, which tells you what? He's here now. I'm the same yesterday. I don't change. I am. Doesn't matter where you want to be. I am. Right? Anyway, let me get the ball. Before I talk your ear off. But I trust now you are inspired and aroused to embody your role all day, every day. You don't have to, don't worry about a thing. I better stop before the mollies come for me. You don't have to worry about a thing. You don't have to force it. Just get into the mood and it will unfold. Right? Mm-hmm. Oh, Moon, Moon, you got me here. Moon says, how am I bringing something to the table when I am the table? Hey, you see it? Whew. Well, thank you, Miss Sonia, my beautiful. She says to have a fantastic day, everyone. And she says, Angela, may your day be filled with love, joy, and happiness. Flo smiles. I read that statement, that last word, and you know exactly what I said. Let your day be filled with love, joy, and happiness. Sorry. Anyway, let me get the ball before y'all cuss me out. Let me get the ball. It is. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love to each and every one of you. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, fan base. Thank you all. You are most welcome, Miss Reese. You are most welcome. Enjoy the beautiful day, all of you. And I'll see you tonight. I don't remember the name of the lecture, but it is there. It is there. I just don't remember the name of it. Something about the power within I am. Something like those. I don't remember, but it's there. All right. Peace.